I just got my biggest order to date. So I just got a 1200 cup order to engrave a logo onto them, and I have to get it done in like 5 days. So this is a really big time crunch, but also just the biggest order. I've never had an order this big, so it's gonna be really challenging just kind of figuring that all out. But there's 2 pallets here of these ceramic drinkware, and I'm gonna show you how to engrave ceramic and just kind of handle a bulk order. I'm actually in this chip build, so let's get into it. There is so many boxes. Now I've already started working on this, but I am very lucky that I put all of these pallets on my patio because like literally 4 hours after I finished loading them all on here off of the truck, it decided to pour down rain. So definitely keep that in mind when the forecast doesn't even say there's rain. Just always prepare for rain just in case. And so I had these tarps up here which are held down with some stuff on top. That way they're all protected and covered. These are expensive cups, and so I really don't want to have anything happen to them because I don't want to have to repay that cost out of pocket. But the branded mug that this is Fable, and these are handcrafted and made in Portugal, which are really cool, and they're from recycled materials, but they're super thick, so I'm really not worried about the integrity of the ceramic cup you know, getting messed up because we're engraving them. But so in order to engrave this, I did not use a rotary. I just used my 4-inch lens on the laser bolt. So let's jump into Lightroom so I can show you how I did it, because I had to do a couple of different things to really make it work. So before I got the job, I was given this tester cup, and as you can see, this has a gray tone to it. And I finally got some settings that looked really good, and we're happy with it. And then the client came back and was like, hey, this is the final cup that we're using, which actually has this white coating on it. And as you can see, oh man, so many different tests had to be done just because it was so hard to figure out the proper settings, because when you engraved it too light, nothing really happened. So we finally settled on a good setting. But yeah, so let's get into Lightburn. All right, so we're in my Lightburn file here. And as you can see, this looks kind of crazy. And we have a bunch of different colors coming on. So let's just undo all of this. And let's start here. So this is the logo that I'm putting on here. I'm not sure what Yay Day is or anything like that. But so here it is. So we have this, and what this blue layer, so this is the last layer to go in. And what that is, it is a line. And I have it at speed 300, power 15 with just 1 pass. And this is to make the engraving around the letters just nice and crisp. And it's just a final pass really to make sure that these letters are nice and sharp in the engraving. So we're kind of working from the bottom up. So that's the very last operation that happens. The next layer is this black layer. And so what that is that's the main engraving pass, right? So this is where I really found the settings that really work for me with the ceramic. I know it's on the slower side, but this is just how I got the white ceramic to actually engrave to a darker color. So for this, the speed is 50 millimeters a second and the power is 80%. And I actually found that out by accident because when I was doing one of my tests, I switched the color of the engraving and didn't check it and sent it to the laser. And it was kind of like a happy accident. However, I highly recommend you always double check before you send the file to the laser. And then we're doing 300 lines per inch with just 1 pass. And then so the very top layer, so the very first thing that happens is this green layer. So what I've done, because I'm not using a rotary and I'm just using the fixed lens for this whole project of engraving, the sides of it were coming out really good, but the middle wasn't coming out good, or it was going to be the opposite. The middle looked fantastic and the sides looked terrible. So what I did was I just made a copy of the 2 middle letters here, and I made it their own letter. And I made it their own layer. And so the 2 A's actually engraved first, and the speed is 100 with a power of 80. That way to kind of even up the engraving all across the board. Same lines per inch is 300 lines per inch. But so that's kind of how it breaks it down. So it does the 2 middle letters first at a faster speed. Then it does the full engrave at the 50 millimeters a second. And then it does that final little outline around each letter, which is a speed of 300 with the power of 15, just to really sharpen everything up and crisp it up. And to compensate for the curve of this mug, I am using the 4-inch lens on the Thunderbolt laser. I did some of the tests with the 1.5 stock lens, and it worked okay, but I just knew it wasn't going to get to a level that I was happy with. And these are really expensive cups. These cups are like $16 a piece, so I really wanted to make sure it was going to look good and be a good final product. So once you have all your settings figured out, and also always do your own testing, don't just take these settings for fact, then we can send it off to the laser and then it's good to go. All right, so these are the ceramic mugs. They are the brand Fable. And so what I do is I just try to line this one up here with my jig. That way the logo is facing me and flat. And then I have my 1, 2, 3 blocks set up here. That way I know the engraving will go on straight. And I put this little 3D printed part here with some hold downs holding everything in place. And I have the square over here just so nothing moves and it's very repetitive and little room for error. And then these pieces of stacked wood is just to make the cup sit flat because it is 2 different sizes from the top to the bottom. But once that's good, then we can close this and we can hit start. And then the laser's going to do its thing. I am using a 4-inch lens to compensate for the curve of the cup, and it's been working great. All right, so I just moved the laser head away. Then we can open it, inspect it, and that looks fantastic. And I'm not too worried about the engraving weakening the ceramic because this thing is super thick. And then we just repeat the whole process again, which is why I like having this little jig set up. All right, so each mug takes 4.5 minutes to do. And so in that downtime, I sit in the super comfy chair because I'm running these 20 hours a day. So I'm only getting 4 hours of sleep just so I can attempt to get all of these done in the tight timeline that we have. Most likely I'm not going to hit it, which is a bummer. But so I can roughly get about 300 cups done a day if I do it for the 20 hours on the laser. But since we're getting rid of this chair and it's comfier than my metal folding chair, I figured I would just kind of set it up where I could put my feet up and kind of relax for this 4.5 minutes as the laser is doing its thing for me. And Elsa's really liked this extra kind of quality time that we've had, even though she thinks this chair is hers. But then once the laser beeps and then the 4.5 minutes are done, then I just get up and switch it out. And I can even doze off for a few minutes. And then once the laser plays the little ding, then we can get up and swap out the cup. Working on this order has been crazy, and once this one is finished, there's only one left. So I'm so freaking excited. I'm not sure if you can really tell because I'm exhausted. So this order took me a week to complete, working 20-hour days every day. And then actually today, which is Monday, they're going to be picked up in a couple hours. Today I've actually worked 30 hours just to kind of finish it all off because I wanted to finish it a couple hours before the pickup time just to be safe and everything. So if you're on the fence about getting the Thunderbolt, don't be, because you can run it non-stop and it's a beast and it does not slow down, does not get overheated. It's just been fantastic. But I cannot wait for this order to be done. I'll get to see my family again, you know, shower, do all those normal kind of things. So I'm going to take a day of rest once this is done. And then tomorrow I'm going to start on my next big order. I got to make a bunch of leather patches. But if you've just started your laser business, don't feel bad if you're not getting orders right away. It definitely takes time. This massive order I only got because a friend of mine, he couldn't do it. And so he shifted it to me. And so it's just one step at a time. The best thing you can do is just put yourself out there, post to Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff, showcasing what you can do. And if all else fails too, you can always make little samples and send them to different businesses in your local area. That works really well as well, especially like coasters and keychains and that kind of stuff. All right, this one is just finished. And it looks pretty good, so let's put the last one in. I do really like these cups. They're from the Brown Table. They're nice and hefty. They are on the expensive side. They're $16 a piece, but they're really good. So if you are looking to engrave ceramic, I would try to go with purple ceramics and probably a ceramic that you're not going to necessarily put hot liquid in. But let's load it up. Not gonna lie, I'm a little emotional, but this is a move. This is my first really big order, so it's been a really fun process for me. All right, look at this, the final one. Let's go. There's only random Pokemon in the bed of my laser because I kind of decorated it for Christmas when I was doing these on TikTok Live. So don't mind the Pokemon. They're just there for decoration. But I cannot believe that this journey is over.